He was born under a lantana bush and rose to become the first Indigenous voice in Australia's Parliament. This is the story of Neville Bonner, the man who defied history. Neville Thomas Bonner AO was a groundbreaking figure in Australian history, the first Aboriginal Australian to serve in the Parliament of Australia. Appointed in 1971 to fill a Senate vacancy and later elected in his own right, Bonner's story is one of resilience, cultural pride and political courage. A member of the Ukerebagh people, Bonner rose from profound hardship to become a respected national leader and a lasting symbol of reconciliation and reform. Bonner was born on Ukerebagh Island in the Tweed River of northern New South Wales. His mother, Julia Bell, was an Indigenous woman of Ukerebagh and Yagara heritage, while his father, Henry Kenneth Bonner, was an English immigrant who left the family before Neville was born. Raised in poverty, Bonner's early years were spent on an Aboriginal reserve, and later on the banks of the Richmond River, often sleeping under lantana bushes with little shelter or security. When Bonner was just 10 years old, his mother passed away. From then on, his maternal grandmother, Ida Sandy, became the central figure in his upbringing. After moving to Beaudesert in Queensland, Bonner attended Beaudesert State Rural School, the only year of formal schooling he would ever complete. Despite the lack of structured education, Bonner developed a deep sense of personal discipline, ethics and cultural identity under the guidance of his grandmother. Following her death in 1935, Bonner began working in a variety of manual labour roles. From ring barking to cane cutting and stock work. In 1946, he settled on Palm Island off the Queensland coast, where he would rise through the ranks to become Assistant Settlement Overseer, a role that gave him experience in administration and community service. By the 1960s, Bonner had moved to Ipswich, Queensland. It was here that he became increasingly involved in the movement for Indigenous rights. He joined the One People of Australia League, a moderate organisation promoting reconciliation and equality. Rising to become Queensland President of OPAL in 1970, Bonner developed his leadership skills and earned a reputation as a pragmatic and sincere advocate for Indigenous Australians. In 1967, he joined the Liberal Party, marking a pivotal turn in his career. His political engagement came to national prominence in 1971 when he was appointed to the Australian Senate to fill a casual vacancy. In doing so, he became the first Indigenous person to sit in the Australian Parliament. 1 year later, Bonner was elected in his own right, a historic breakthrough that reflected a shift in Australia's political and cultural landscape. Bonner served in the Senate from 1971 to 1983. Winning re-election in 1972, 1974, 1975 and 1980. He was a member of the Liberal Party but frequently demonstrated an independent streak. Though never appointed to a ministerial position, he served on numerous committees and brought a critical Indigenous perspective to national discussions. Bonner's refusal to toe the party line earned him both admiration and criticism. He notably crossed the floor on several issues, including his lone government vote opposing oil drilling on the Great Barrier Reef in 1981. His principled stance on environmental issues, Indigenous rights and social justice made him a unique and sometimes controversial figure within his party. His growing dissent eventually led to his removal from the Liberal Party Senate ticket in 1983. Undeterred, Bonner ran as an independent, narrowly missing re-election. After leaving politics, Bonner remained deeply involved in public life. Recognising his dignity and service, Prime Minister Bob Hawke appointed him to the board of the Australian Broadcasting Corporation in 1983. He briefly served as acting chairman in 1984 and was reappointed to the board for a second term until 1991. He later served on the Griffith University Council from 1992 to 1996 and was awarded an honorary doctorate by the university in 1993. In 1998, Bonner participated in the Constitutional Convention as a candidate for Australians for Constitutional Monarchy. That same year, he announced that he had been diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Neville Bonner passed away in February 1999 at the age of 76 in Ipswich. He was given a state funeral, a testament to his legacy and the respect he earned across the political spectrum. Neville Bonner's legacy has been commemorated in numerous ways. In 1979, he was named Australian of the Year, jointly with naturalist Harry Butler. In 1984, he was appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia for his service to the community and the nation. The Queensland government named the Neville Bonner building in Brisbane in his honour, which, although later demolished in 2017, symbolised his standing in public life. The Neville Bonner Bridge, part of the Queen's Wharf development, was completed in 2023 and officially opened in 2024, further embedding his name into the national consciousness. Several educational and community initiatives also bear his name. The Neville Bonner Memorial Scholarship, established in 2000, supports Indigenous Australians pursuing honours in political science. The Neville Bonner Award for Indigenous Education recognises outstanding contributions to Indigenous education. The Neville Bonner Hostel in Rockhampton serves as a community facility for Aboriginal people. The Federal Electoral Division of Bonner in Queensland stands as a permanent political tribute. The suburb of Bonner in Canberra ensures future generations will encounter his name. Neville Bonner married Mona Banfield in 1943 on Palm Island. Together, they raised 5 sons and fostered 3 daughters. Mona passed away in 1969, and in 1972, Bonner remarried to Heather Ryan. Bonner was also a cultural ambassador. In 1966, he founded a boomerang business called Bonnerang, producing handcrafted boomerangs from native black wattle roots. He was known to perform boomerang demonstrations, including on the lawns of Parliament House. In his maiden speech, Bonner called for protection of Indigenous intellectual property, specifically the boomerang. A handcrafted Bonnerang boomerang is now held in the Museum of Australian Democracy. Neville Bonner's journey from a disadvantaged childhood to the Australian Senate is one of the most powerful narratives. As a bridge between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australia, he broke barriers with grace and courage. He wasn't just the first, he set a standard for integrity, perseverance and cultural pride. His story continues to inspire Australians of all backgrounds to believe in change, representation and unity. Neville Bonner didn't just break barriers, he built bridges. His legacy isn't just in history books, but in every step Australia takes toward justice, dignity and unity.